don't feel like it would work in Kingdom Hearts 3. I feel like it can work in future titles. Like, when we get the new genre of Kingdom Hearts, when we get a new set of Disney World, or maybe even Disney Pixar, because then we do have the Toy Story hints here and there. When we get new worlds like that.
Alright, so who's gonna tell them? Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Keyblade Wielder 230, and I'm back with a little bit of a different video, I guess. The green screen kind of makes that obvious. So, what am I doing in front of a green screen? Well, I bought the thing, and I thought I might as well use the thing. Okay, so long story short, I made a video about, give or take 5 or 6 years ago, detailing whether or not Disney could use Marvel and Star Wars properties for Kingdom Hearts 3. So if any of you haven't seen the latest Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, there's a lot of discussion going around of whether or not Star Wars is officially going to be integrated into Kingdom Hearts. The screenshot in question is a debate amongst the community to be showing a foot of the AT-ST from Return of the Jedi. And I thought, holy crap, could this actually be it? Now, I'm not here to say whether or not Star Wars being in Kingdom Hearts is actually happening or not, but I did rewatch my old video and I was curious to see how my opinions have changed on whether or not Marvel and Star Wars should or could work in Kingdom Hearts 4. Kingdom Hearts 4 looks to be a lot different compared to its predecessors in the fact that it's going for a more realistic setting. And that begs the question on how IPs are going to be handled, since this is a Disney game after all. For that, let's take a look back at Pirates of the Caribbean in Kingdom Hearts 3. When we look at how the main cast is put into the world from Kingdom Hearts 2 versus Kingdom Hearts 3, we can see that one blends in a lot better than the other. Pirate Sora is actually one of my favorite costumes of Kingdom Hearts 3, and if I were to look at Jack Sparrow from the films and Pirate Sora, I can see that these two would exist in the same realm. I think Pirates of the Caribbean is visually the most impressive world in Kingdom Hearts 3 because while the others look exactly like their Pixar counterparts, Sora, Donald, and Goofy look like they can really work in a live-action environment. Back in the day, I said that Star Wars and Marvel wouldn't fit into Kingdom Hearts 3 because the art styles would be too outlandish. How wrong I was on that. Truthfully, I never thought much of the subject until the discussion about a supposed Star Wars world in Kingdom Hearts 4 started floating around. But the truth kind of stands now. We're at a point to where we can get much more live-action properties out of Kingdom Hearts when we look at how detailed and extravagant the designs are for Verumbrex, Quadratum, Yozora, and Sora in Kingdom Hearts 4/3 Remind. While I prefer the cartoony style of Disney Pixar, my opinion has actually changed over the years. The only thing that I would have to question is story. Star Wars has 3 definitive eras from the films. The prequel era, the original trilogy, and God forbid the sequels, but they're there too. My opinion from back in the day still stands. If we were to get Star Wars represented in Kingdom Hearts, I think the best approach would be to use the original trilogy. Now that's not to say because of nostalgia bait, but because that story is simplified enough to where we won't have to have source material to explain what's going on. What I mean by this is whenever we explore Arendelle in Kingdom Hearts 3, unless you already know how the film plays out, over half of the story is missing in Kingdom Hearts. And that's why I think it's the weakest world in Kingdom Hearts 3. And I might make a video on that one day, but that's just facts. Now, I'm not saying that the Kingdom Hearts world have to be a one-to-one to the film. We have plenty of original stories we can do with these characters, but if you're going to go the movie route, why is half of the story just irrelevant? I really don't want them to underdevelop the stories of the worlds that cross over into Kingdom Hearts. And before I ramble on too much about that, let's move over to Marvel. I love Captain America. I love Spider-Man. I love Iron Man. But there is so much that could go wrong if Marvel integration into Kingdom Hearts is not handled properly. Now we have tons, and I do mean tons of years of stories we can go through. We could even go through similar storylines to the MCU films, as long as it's not one-to-one, and as long as we don't have repeating threads that come off as cliches. But the main question is, what are we doing in these worlds? Why does Sora need to be here? How does this relate to anything about the Heart, the Nobodies, or any other third thing? Like I said, the original trilogy is best for Star Wars, and that's because there is so much emotional ties between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and that can be integrated in such a way about loss, or never letting your heart down, or some other third thing that Sora comes out with. He's good at that. But as for Marvel, that's where I can't come up with anything. You see, a lot of the time, Marvel comics are about overarching stories. There's just so much content that overarches itself over a good span of time. And I'm not sure how the story can progress in Kingdom Hearts with both a beginning, middle, and end that makes sense. At least in my opinion. I know that there's going to be someone out there that has a lot more comic knowledge than I do, but this is me coming off of the MCU and reading up details about the comics and at least knowing who some of the characters are, so don't take me too seriously on this section. Bottom line, I at least want there to be some thematical message with Star Wars and Marvel in Kingdom Hearts 4, or in the future at least. I used to be against Star Wars and Marvel coming into Kingdom Hearts, but I think it's time we embrace something new. I think the only gripe I would have with Star Wars coming into Kingdom Hearts is I'm pretty sure they would use the sequel trilogy, but I'm putting my hopes up that they don't. I'm sorry, I just don't like the sequel trilogy. And I wish I could express that in some videos, but time will tell. I will probably make those at some point. And when it comes to the Marvel side, just don't do what the MCU is doing beat for beat. Just make something of your own. There's plenty of stories to go off of, lots of characters to use. Just make it unique for Kingdom Hearts, and I'm sure the rest will follow. So in summary, I do think Marvel and Star Wars can definitely fit in Kingdom Hearts 4. We've seen how successful Pirates was at transitioning into the realm of Kingdom Hearts, and so I do think the time has come for more live-action properties like Pirates to be put into Kingdom Hearts. If I had to choose between the two being put into Kingdom Hearts 4, I gotta say Star Wars would be the better choice. So with that being said, feel free to leave your own suggestions in the comment section below. And be sure to give this video a like and subscribe for more content in the future. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this kind of video in the future, but I thought it would just be ironic to kind of replicate the style of the original video and talk about it all these years later. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and let's get on the hype train for Kingdom Hearts 4!